Welcome everyone to this week's episode of Unrooted Baseball Edition, and my guest for this week's show coming in on the pinch is Jordan Getzelman. Jordan, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Yeah, you're very welcome. Originally it was supposed to be Dean Aliamus this week, but he's a little bit under the weather and he's been missing some practice, so we called in Jordan last second, and he's coming in blind for this one. He doesn't really know the questions that much at all, so he's going to be kind of blindsided, I think, a little bit.
Yeah.
Hopefully we won't throw you under the bus too bad here with this one.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Let's start by getting to know you a little bit better. You call Crystal Lake, Illinois home, and this is the first school you've attended in the western part of the United States. What made Menlo stand out to you?
This summer, I was taking a look at schools, and actually throughout the season last year, I'd noticed online on Twitter, actually, is the story. Coach Jason Ochart was tweeting a lot about the offensive success that we had here at Menlo and the teams before doing some damage, and I thought that was awesome. It was something that was very intriguing for me, something I wanted for myself, and I reached out and just found out more about the culture, and it brought me out west, and I couldn't be happier about it.
Now, people on this team kind of brag a little bit about you being one of the nicest guys that they've ever met. Where did you become so personable?
I would say, my parents are both very personable people. They have taught me to be very polite, and obviously it's very nice for people to say that about me. I just try and be a good friend to people. I think being nice is one of the best things you can be, so I definitely try to be, but very nice of them to say that.
And you were talking about offensive success here at Menlo, and you have fit the bill of that in every single sense of it. I can't have a conversation with you without talking about home runs.
Sure.
At 27 back in high school, you led Iowa Western Community College in home runs, and this year you're just one home run shy of the program's single season record of 20, and we're still in March right now. The only thing I can ask is how do you do it?
I'd say that I've just kept trying to improve. I'd say this is what I've expected for myself for a long time. But I really took this summer to go back and look at my swing and get it back synced up. I felt like I got away from myself a little bit. There's like a trend going on in the major leagues right now. A lot of people are talking about elevating the baseball, getting the ball in the air, matching your swing plane with the ball, and talking about all the scientific terms of launch angle and exit velocity. So to keep up with the times, you want to do damage in the air, and I've really tried to do that this year, and it's a program-wide thing. We have 14 guys who have done the same thing, so it's a program thing, and I'm just glad to fit into it.
Let's talk a little bit about the team now. The Oaks went up to Oregon last weekend, and it was very cold up there.
It was.
You guys took 2 out of 3 from Oregon Tech, but it seemed like for the most part the bats were a little bit quieter, at least in the first 2 games. Again, that is aside from you because you hit 4 home runs up there. Did the weather play a role in keeping the offense down a little bit?
I would have to say so. Anytime you go into different conditions, it's going to challenge you to be at your best, and obviously we fell one short of our goal of going up there and winning 3 games. But I was proud of the guys, the way that we battled, and we came back in that 3rd game, and the cold probably did play a slight factor, but we were able to come back and finally get some good runs on the board in that 3rd game.
It was in the 30s on Friday night. What was it on Saturday during the doubleheader?
It was probably 42 degrees.
Balmy 42.
Yeah, very balmy. Hey, that's home weather for me, so I was all right with it.
Yeah, so do you get much snow up there?
We do.
From Crystal Lake?
Yeah, in Crystal Lake. There was a lot of times that spring break would roll around and you'd either get washed out because it was snowing, or you were practicing all throughout the late February, early March, where you had snow on the ground. You had to get used to it. So that was back home for me.
That's why it didn't phase you one.
Not a little bit.
The team is ranked 7th in the nation. For the most part, you guys are playing like it. How do you not let that get to your head?
I think this is an expectation for us. This is the first time the program has been recognized like this, but it's really a credit to the guys that have come before us and Jake building the culture here that this is what we've expected. We've had great players come through this program, but this is what we expect, and we have to go out every single day and take one repetition at a time to get better and really climb to the top and be, like you said, maintain that position.
Now, with everyone on the team being able to make any ballpark their own personal launching pad, how do you guys not just go up there with one thing in mind, that's hit a home run? How do you guys have a somewhat balanced approach, even though you hit so many home runs?
Yeah, I'd say a lot of guys do go up there trying to hit home runs, and that's totally okay by me. But, you do what the team needs at the time. And I think a lot of people are starting to understand that. We talked about it last week, knowing your role in the Wolf Pack. And, some guys have to hit extra base hits, and we will try and do that. Others need to work the count a little bit more. The long ball is fun, but as long as we're getting good offensive production, I think we'll be okay.
And to complement the offensive production, the rotation's been absolutely solid for you guys all year long, and it was so again against Oregon Tech over the weekend. How much of a boost is that for the offense to know that you guys don't have to go out and score 10 runs on any given day, and you can just let the pitching staff do its thing?
Yeah, it's a huge relief. I can't give enough credit to our pitchers. They work their butts off every single day, and it's a relief when you can go up there and you don't have a whole lot of pressure on you. The games that we get out in front early, it's very nice and comforting to know that the rest of your bats are going to be comfortable because they're going to slam the door. Jason, Merkin, and Brett on the back end there have been phenomenal, and our bullpen's been just as good. So huge credit to those guys. They make it easy for us.
It seems like you guys have had a great mindset too with all the recent travel you've had, not really having anything at home aside from this weekend where you're going to kind of be at least here near Cartan Field. What is that grind like, constantly being on the road? It's
tough. This is the first time I've really had to deal with that. But this group has taken it on. We have the slogan this year, "Who cares?" And I have to give a lot of credit to our team, and I think it starts from the top. It's been a program-wide thing. We have to kind of just go with the flow, and it's tough. It's tough on your bodies, especially. But we expect to win ball games, and we're good enough to do that. So regardless of the conditions, you got to show up and play, and we've been having fun doing it.
And you guys are back in conference play this weekend. You have a 3-game series against Hope International. They've received votes in the latest NAIA coaches poll.
Sure.
What's the report on the Royals, and what can we expect to see this weekend?
They're a very good team, very good offensive team. They have 3 starters that are very good. We expect them to be one of the best teams that we've played so far, and I think the more you win, the more important that each series gets going down the road. So this is going to be a very important one to us, and we're going to have to handle it just like anybody else and play the game as it's supposed to be played.
All right, Jordan, let's get into the final segment of the show. It's called Brownie Bites. I'm going to ask you 3 off-the-wall questions. You give me your best answer.
All right.
And he hasn't seen these before, so this is the best part. Question number 1. Which teammate has the strangest superstition?
Oh, geez. I would say it's a combination of 3 guys. They're usually in a room together. It's Eduardo Sanchez, Nate Dodson, and Emilio Guerra. They're all blasting Migos on their portable speaker, and they're doing their bottle flip routine for Snapchat. If you guys can tune in and look for Eddie Sanchez's Snapchat, they're flipping bottles and playing Travis Scott and Migos, and it gets out of hand.
We'll have to try and get one of this on the broadcast sometime.
Absolutely.
For a post-game interview. We'll see what we can do.
For sure.
Question number 2. Which teammate hates the snow the most?
Oh, geez. I would have to say none of the California guys handled it very well. It was a big scene in Oregon for them to see snow. So I'd say anybody from California. Most of them don't get to see it too very often.
And question number 3. You are asked to pick a couple of teammates, we'll say 3, to join you on Family Feud.
Okay.
Who would you pick and why?
Ooh, Family Feud. So I know my roommate Joe Gillette watches a lot of Family Feud. It's kind of his go-to game show when we go on the road, so I'd have to say Joe Gillette. He's watched it enough to know the ins and outs of it. Nick Quijado is the next one that comes to mind. He's a smart cookie, thinks well on his feet, so that's very important. And the last one, sneaky smart Reed Keenley. He's a good one, and I know I'd be able to trust him late in the clutch there. So that's my 3.
I feel like Reed would also be the kind of guy who, if you got 2 X's and you need an off-the-wall answer, he will give it to Steve Harvey, and he's going to give it in the straightest way possible.
Absolutely.
He will not flinch.
No, absolutely. He'd be a good banter with Steve Harvey. I feel like they'd go back and forth very well.
They definitely would. We got to make this happen. Somehow we got to get him on the show. We're going to get Menlo baseball as a whole on Family Feud.
That'd be something to see. I think that'd be fantastic. Hey, it could be part of one of our fall competitions. You never know.
Hey. Yeah, that's a good idea. I have to get Jake in on this.
That's right.
This is a winner.
Absolutely.
Jordan, thanks so much for joining me on the show.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Appreciate it. And fans, don't forget this weekend series against Hope International. It's a big one in the GSAC, and all 3 games will be broadcasted live on the Menlo College Sports Network. Friday's game is a 3 o'clock start time, and it's located at the high school baseball field, which is at Cartan Athletic Complex, so it's right next door to the home field of the Oaks. So
finally,
if you're in the area, we might as well go out and check it out, because they're going to be playing a quasi-home game. And then Saturday, an 11 o'clock doubleheader, that's at Kenyatta College at Woodside, where the last one was against Vanguard. We invite you to tune in to next week's show. Jordan Getzelman, well, he normally would have freedom to pick who he wants to interview, but it's going to be Dean Aliamus next week. So Dean, we hope you make a speedy recovery, and we'll see you back on here for next week's show. I'm Brian Brownfield. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we'll see you next week.